My name is Sophia Horwitz, and I'm talking to you today from Halifax, Nova Scotia. And I've been asked by Waterlution to do 3 short videos for the Great Waters Challenge. So the first video is all about where do I start when doing an intervention in my community. And the very first step I like to think about for this is, how am I personally preparing myself? And with personal prep, there are a few short questions that I like to ask myself. The very first one is around need and what is needed in the community that you're working in. And how are you contributing your gifts and passions to that world? So what are you passionate about that you actually want to take action on? And for the next step, I really like to think about, how are we meeting people where they're at? Instead of going to expecting people to come to us, what are the places in the community that people are already gathering at? Is it a coffee shop? Is it the local library? Is it outside at the park? And how can you just go to those places and start to be around? And that really leads to the next part of this, which I think is important, around uncovering the narrative of your community. What is the identity of the place that you're in? And once you're in those places and spaces where people are hanging out, what are the stories that people are telling? What do they find are the challenges? What are their visions for that place? And what are the gifts that they might want to contribute to also make those dreams a reality? So those are a few just short ideas, and we'll be back with video 2 shortly. Hello, welcome back. We're here for video number 2, and this is all about ideas to inspire. So I was going to share just a few different practices and events that we've done in the past. One of them was called placemaking, and we actually did the second project right here in this laneway, and it's all about how do we turn a regular street or lane into a public space that community has ownership over and feels a sense of pride. That project actually began by saying traffic was going too fast in an area, and we wanted to slow it down. You can hear it there. But we wanted to do it in a more creative way that actually expressed the beauty of the place. So with a bunch of friends and neighbors and artists, we came together and did a bunch of workshops for the seniors' home and for the school, different classes, and for the neighborhood as a whole. And with an artist, we actually took all those different ideas of the place and turned it into an image that then we actually used as a paint-by-numbers painting on the street itself. And it was actually known to slow traffic down. Another example of an event that we did was called Community Chalkboards. And for the new library that was being built in Halifax, we had 15 different chalkboards, and on each one was written many times this ad-lib that said, "In my life, I've learned blank." And over the course of a day, everyone that was walking by that street would start to say, "Oh yeah, I have a life lesson I'd like to contribute," and fill out the ad-lib on the wall. And then there was all these beautiful life lessons that were both poignant and sad and funny and personal, but also happening in the public space. So I wanted to invite you to think about, what's the question for your project or idea that could actually help spark a conversation? That's all for now, and we'll see you back with video number 3. Thanks! Hello, welcome to video 3. The theme of this video is all about capturing your experience. So when you're doing your intervention or event, it's always important to actually think about, how are you going to learn from it afterwards? How are you going to tell the story? And how are you going to celebrate? So a few examples of projects that we've done in the past, because I like to make sure that any event that we're capturing, if it can be creative and interactive, it'll be much better. So for the first one, we have a clothesline. And that sounds crazy, but what we did was we had a clothesline with little hangers, and we asked people, what are the ideas that you have for your neighborhood, and put them up one by one on this clothesline. And at the end, you got to see this whole array of different dreams and visions and ideas that people had. And it just expressed them in a very visible and creative way. Another way that we collected stories from a place was we had two typewriters facing each other, and we asked people, what are the love letters to the neighborhood that you've never written but you want to write? And people actually sat down and wrote these stories and then hung them up again. And at the end, we had hundreds of these beautiful love notes to the area that you could see everyone's and actually feel this like greater sense of identity and sense of place. And the last one is self-evident, although it's covered in snow right now, is this community board that we made, and it's a big part of all the community neighborhood projects we like to do. And it's just the idea that you can keep track of local events leading up to your intervention, but on the day of, you can also use it as a way to express what's happened and to ask people feedback that they have. And then there's all sorts of other kinds of things, whether it be video or photography or a blog. Okay, well, good luck with your projects. That's all I have for today, and I look forward to learning all about what you do. Take care.